I am roasting. It's now time we see some of your amazing faces in our next section, Joke of the Week.
What did the big flower say to the little flower?
I don't know.
Hi, Bud.
What time do ducks get up in the morning?
I don't know, Daniel. What time do ducks get up in the morning?
At the quack of dawn.
Why do pandas wear fur coats? I don't know. Because they would look ridiculous in a denim jacket.
What animal is always at a baseball game?
I don't know.
A bat.
What kind of cheese do you use to hide a pony? Mascarpone!
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Pasta.
Pasta who?
Passo. Why did the banana go to the doctor?
Why?
Because he wasn't peeling well.
What did the dog say when he sat on the sandpaper?
I don't know. What did the dog say when he sat on the sandpaper?
Ruff, ruff.
Do you have a joke? If you do, film it landscape or sideways and send it to mightymungos@mungos.org, and maybe next time we'll see you on Joke of the Week.
It's time for Gratitude Attitude. Let's see who sent in their videos this week. I'm thankful for my baby brother. I'm thankful for my toy tractor outside and the 1-for-1 swing.
Thank you, God, for... Baby.
Thank you for knocking me down, no. I'm thankful for popcorn. I'm thankful for schools reopening. I'm thankful for God, the earth, my family, and the things on the earth.
We're thankful for camping.
So, what are you thankful for? Send in your videos to Mighty Mungos. We'll love seeing your faces. It's time for WhatsApp.
Hi, Mighty Mungos. I've got another song for you. It's a good one. It's called I'm Gonna Jump Up and Down. Now, this one is about being happy. Do you know that happiness is a choice? Yeah, a choice. You can choose. Let's go then. Let's go. Okay, this one. Actually, hold on a minute. You're still wondering about that? Yeah, happiness being a choice. Yeah, it is. Let me give you an example. You're in your room and you've just been told off for not cleaning it up. And you're on a huff, you know, lips out. And then all of a sudden, your friend calls or comes to the door, and all of a sudden, yeah, hi, how you doing? Yeah, let's go and play. Let's go and climb some trees. Yeah. You made a choice. Yeah. The Bible tells us that we should rejoice always. Yeah. Another thing, I used to tell my sons, my boys, they didn't like it. That boredom's a choice as well, but that's another, we'll leave that for just now. Okay, let's go. So what we're doing with this one is we're gonna jump up and down, gonna spin round, around, gonna praise your name forever. I'm gonna shout out, gonna deafen the crowd, gonna send my praise to heaven. And it gets all a lot better than that. Okay. Let's get it going. I've missed something.
Where's your silly hat?
Silly hat, yep. Oh, I've got a good one today. Let's see this one. You're gonna like it. Ta-da! Yeah, look, it's got lots of pockets. And pockets mean you can put stuff in it. So, now, we've got some ketchup. You always need a bit of ketchup, yeah? And you need chocolates. Yep, chocolates go in there. They go in there, yep. somewhere. There we go. And you need a banana, because that always goes with chocolate. Yep. And then there's even room for these, see these ringy things? For your barbecue kit. Yeah, so you can put your barbecue kit in there. And a potato masher, you always need one of them. That goes in there. And then, last of all, a wee pen. Right in the front pocket. There we go. Okay, we're ready to go.
Such a lot when you got not a lot. What? Be happy. I'm gonna jump up and down, gonna spin right around, gonna praise your name forever. I'm gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, gonna send my praise to heaven. I'm gonna jump up and down, gonna spin right around, gonna praise your name forever. I'm gonna shout out loud, gonna deafen the crowd, gonna send my praise to heaven. I'll run this race and I will never stop. I follow Jesus till the day I drop. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. When you got such a lot, when you got not a lot, what? Be happy. Such a lot when you got not a lot. What? Be happy.
Yay! Now, what we need, you know what makes me happy, is chocolate and a banana.
Hey Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Engage heads up display.
Check.
Who's our hero of the faith going to be today?
Searching Heroes of Faith database. Hero is Elijah.
Okay, get it loaded up.
You're online and ready.
This morning we're going to take a look at quite possibly the greatest hero in the Bible, after Jesus obviously, Elijah. Elijah was a colossal hero of faith, a legend. He lived around 860 BC, and essentially wherever he showed up, miraculous and incredible things happened. So we're in the book of 1 Kings 18. We read that the nation of Israel wasn't in a good spot. The king, Ahab, had married Jezebel. She was from a different tribe and she worshipped a different god, an idol called Baal. Over a period of time, she turned King Ahab and Israel as a nation from worshipping God to worshipping Baal. In steps Elijah, and he is not in the mood for messing about. There's to be a challenge on top of a mountain to see which God is greater. On one side, we've got Elijah. On the other, we've got 450 prophets of Baal. 1 versus 450. The challenge is that they'll both build an altar to God, pray, and whichever God answers the prayer with fire and takes up the burnt offering would be the victor and the real God. The Baal prophets went first. They danced and they sang and they prayed to Baal to send fire. Elijah stood and watched. At lunchtime, when nothing had happened, he gave them some encouragement. Perhaps your God's asleep, he said. Maybe if you shout a bit louder, you'll wake him up. They kept trying all day, but nothing happened. It was a complete and utter failure. Up steps Elijah. He's supremely confident, so much so, he gets some water and he drenches all the wood of the offering, just to make it as hard as possible. He steps back and he prays. He says, answer me, Lord, answer me, so that these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and they'll turn their hearts back to you. At that moment, fire from heaven fell, burnt up the sacrifice, the altar, the earth, the water, the whole lot. Everyone saw it and fell to the ground. However, in the next chapter, we read how Elijah became afraid and he ran for his life. Basically, Jezebel was not happy that her god Baal, and by extension herself, had been completely humbled. And so she said to Elijah she was going to have him killed. So Elijah, who'd literally seen God move in this incredible way, ran away, hid in a cave. Why? Why is it that even after experiencing God in this amazingly powerful way, did he suddenly forget that and run? I can think of numerous times in my life where I've seen God do unbelievable things. Not fire from heaven consuming a wet cow, but some amazing things. And yet there's also plenty of moments in my life when I felt that God isn't near, I'm on my own, that God's distant. So Elijah was completely exhausted, he fell asleep, and while asleep, God sent 2 angels to come and bake bread and provide fresh water for Elijah. They woke him up from his sleep and they said, here, eat this, drink this. He fell asleep again. And they woke him up a second time and said, look, here, eat this, drink this. Elijah's spiritually distant from God, but know how the angels don't wake him up and say, hey, Elijah, you need to pray more. You've got to meditate more on scripture. You've got to go and tell more people about God. No, they met his physical need. There's another story in the New Testament where Jesus appears after he's been resurrected to his disciples. He gives them breakfast on the beach. Peter, he'd been out all night fishing, hadn't caught anything. He was utterly exhausted. Jesus calls out and he says to his friends, here, throw the nets over here. And they catch this massive bumper haul. At that moment, Peter realizes it's Jesus and he swims ashore. He's about to have this life-changing encounter with Jesus where he's restored, where he's told that he's going to be the foundation of the church for the future. But the first thing that Jesus does is he gives him breakfast. He meets a physical need. You see, Peter's tired, exhausted, hungry. You can only imagine his delight when he steps onto the beach and he sees and he smells that fish cooking on a fire. They have breakfast together. They spend time together. And when Peter's rested, only then does Jesus take him to one side and speak to him more profoundly. Sometimes when we feel distant from God, we think, I must pray more. I must read my Bible more. I must tell more people about Jesus. I must serve more. But it's entirely possible that if you're struggling to connect with God, it's not because you aren't doing enough. It could just be that you're exhausted. And what you really need to do is switch off your phone, grab a sharing bag of crisps for one, and get an early night. Certainly, it's worth giving this a try before we do anything else. Elijah teaches us that when we feel distant from God, one of the things that we need to check out is whether we're physically and emotionally recharged. If we aren't, we can see from both the way that the angels attended to Elijah and how Jesus cooks for Peter that God encourages us to rest. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, be still and know that I am God. Andy Croft, who with Mike Pilavachi wrote the book Lifelines that we're using for this series on heroes, he reminds us that this isn't a command, but it's also a promise. When we're still, when we pause, when we switch off from the busyness of our day-to-day, we can know God. But why in the stillness? Well, that's the second thing that we can learn from Elijah, that God can and does speak through thunder and fire and big loud actions, the spectacular. But more often than not, he speaks in a whisper because he desires intimacy. You see, to hear a whisper, you've got to be close by. You've got to be still. You've got to be quiet. You've got to be giving your full attention to the speaker. You've got to feel that tickle on your ear as they speak the words out. Why not take some time each day to pause and be still, to know God is near? What would that look like for you? The final thing that we can learn from Elijah is that we need other people. Elijah's feeling pretty awful when he runs away. He's physically, emotionally, spiritually exhausted, and he runs away and he hides. He cuts himself off from other people and he hides on his own. When we feel like Elijah, we hit a hard moment in our life, the easiest thing to do is run away and hide, to distance ourselves from our friends and from our family, to keep it all to ourselves. And this is because we think that isolation is the way to freedom. That isolation protects us and keeps us safe. If we hide the problem, maybe it'll go away. But none of these statements are true. Elijah spent a day wandering around, repeating the worries and negative thoughts and emotions around in his head. There was nobody there to tell him the truth about who he was or encourage him. Nobody to help him lift his head and see a different perspective. God knew this, even if Elijah didn't. And so he sent him Elisha, and they formed this deep friendship. And later on, we hear Elisha call out to Elijah, my father, my father. That's how close they were. It's really easy to think that we can make it through life on our own. As you go through life, you'll come across people who will say, oh, God's all I need, or all I need is Jesus. And I honestly don't think that's true. You see, we're built for relationship. We're designed for relationship with others. Soph encouraged us last week to be a Ruth. We need to develop friendships with people who bring us life. As you grow up, or maybe right now, you'll have people that being around fills you with joy, encourages you, they cheer you on. They remind you that you're loved, that you matter, that you're significant, and that you're all these things because God says you are. Not because of anything you've done, but because you're his child and he loves you. They make our lives full of color. Their friends help us to understand and experience what it means to be a follower of Jesus. Look for them and treasure those friendships. So, 4 things that we can learn from our hero Elijah this week. Number 1, don't rely on meeting God only in the spectacular. Meet God in the everyday. When God feels distant, check we're physically and emotionally recharged. If we aren't, be intentional about resting. Number 3, take time to be still and know God as a promise as well as a command. And number 4, don't be a stranger. When life gets hard, we need our friends and family more than ever. It's easy to believe that all we need is Jesus, but in reality, we really need good friends too.
Let's see who sent their memory verse in this week. In the same way I have loved you, you love one another. John 13, verse 34.
In the same way I have loved you, you love one another. John 13, verse 34.
In the same way I've loved you, love one another. In the same way I have loved you, you love one another. John 13, verse 34. Love one another. And your memory verse for this week is...
Be still and know that I am God.
Welcome to Mighty Mungos News. We have 2 things to tell you about this week. The first thing is that the Mighty Mungos treasure hunt is now over. Here is a big shout out to some more of the people who completed it. Sophie, Andrew, Duncan, Isabel, Amy, Rebecca, Andrew, Daniel, Merida, Jake, Amy, Ben, Evie, Holly, Poppy. That's us. Maisie, Naomi, Ailey, Kai, May, Louise, Tom, Oliver, Rose. And here are a couple of the photos of people with their certificates. The second thing is that we are really excited to tell you that we are going to be delivering Mighty Mungos caps to all primary age children at St. Mungos. They have been designed by Mighty Mungos friend Juliet Story, and they are going to be delivered over the next couple of weeks. These caps are a reminder that you are part of the pack. You are part of something bigger. These Mongoose pack encourages and looks out for everyone. They are stronger together. They are also a reminder that God is bigger and that He sees you and thinks that you are amazing. Why not send us in some photos of you wearing your Mighty Mungos cap somewhere fun, unusual, or on a visit somewhere? Send your photos into mightymungos@stmungos.org and we'll show them in our new Pack Pics part of Mighty Mungos news section in the future weeks. That's all from Mighty Mungos news this week. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Our time together is almost over, but we just have time for Family Pizza!
That's it, I can't believe it. Another week of Mighty Mungos has come to an end. We've loved spending our time with you this morning, but now it's time for you to go and pop to the loo and grab some snacks, go and grab yourself a drink and join us back here at 10:30 for the next part of our service this morning. We're going to have some worship, we're going to have a relevant talk from the Bible, and we're going to have a chance to pray together. It's going to be amazing and we can't wait to share it with you. So join us back here 10:30 for the next part of St Mungos Church Online.